All right, looks like we're live.
Well, good evening and welcome to Psychic Coffee Shop. I'm Aeson, and of course with me tonight is Techy Joe. Hello, darling. How are you?
A little tired, a little stressed, a little worried. Told you
Yeah,
guys we'd get a publication out today, and not quite there. Actually, you can see it behind me. Well, not leaning the right way. No, it's not going to show my screen. Awesome.
yeah.
Anyway, it's up on it. I have been working on that today, and it is getting close. Like, I'm literally working in Publisher at the moment.
Yeah, that's just a few more pages.
A few more pages, few more pages.
Yeah.
It's been a while, you know? Print publication, it's been a while. Hey, Shannon.
Hello, Shannon. It has been a little while since we had a newsletter out, but publishers can snap it together really fast, especially when the articles are provided to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like, no, we have everything basically together. It's just popping it in.
Hi,
Hey,
Brenda.
Brenda. How's the what?
Brenda's Jeep broke down.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Poor Brenda. Oh, my gosh.
I know. She had a great support system.
Mm. Good deal.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. But yeah.
But
So,
no, it's been an interesting week. It's been some interesting things going on around.
mhm.
I think the first time in my life I've ever seen a mayor tell a president, don't come here.
Yeah, really. And for good reason. And more importantly, shouldn't have had to.
I know.
Oh, Brenda loves her tribe.
She got a good tribe.
Yes.
Nice little band of Indians. How about really?
Hi, Beverly. Or more apropos, hi, sis. But yes.
But yeah. I wasn't. I think that, what is the mayor? What Wisconsin mayor, the name pronunciation loses me. He had a very good speech and a very good point. And we saw this repeated overly from
Mm-hmm.
Portland to now Wisconsin, and it seems like everywhere that federal troops or presidents go, we have shootings.
Oh, yes.
Hi,
Oh,
Kim.
actually, Wisconsin mayor or Portland mayor?
Both of them told him don't come.
Oh, wow.
See,
Sorry, it's hard to
Portland
keep up
mayor,
anymore as to where our president, our president, is not allowed at. It's a long list. It's getting
well,
longer.
it's a debater about not allowed at versus not really invited. Now, look in a different view of this.
Okay.
I can remember my grandmother, my aunt, my mother all talking about Kennedy coming to Oak Hill. Like there was a big parade. He got out of his car. He went and talked to people, shook hands, kissed babies. Standard election protocol. We have a president that mayors and governors are telling him do not come, but yet he still comes.
Well, yes. Typically doesn't wear a mask, at least not in front of reporters. And yeah,
Yeah, well, Michigan has already told him if you come back, you better wear a mask. If not, you're not welcome here. You can leave.
yeah, really. Hello, Kim. But no, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's hard to keep up. And then, like, we've had repeating news stories, of
Mm-hmm.
course, of yet another shooting,
Mm-hmm.
which I believe is the whole reason he was going to go to Wisconsin anyway.
Right, it was because of
One
the
of the
shooting.
states.
He was going to Wisconsin because of the rioting and the shooting and the protest and all the destruction and all the terribleness these Democrat men. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Aren't you going to get that he's the cause of this?
Basically. Well, and then there's the Republican National Convention, which even if you can get past the fact of, before we go low, we get high,
Mm-hmm.
because high, that's a meme for the ages. But if you can get past that part,
Mm-hmm.
can we just point out, can we just point out that one, that was a failed RNC, but and I lost my train of thought. Gosh, I had a good one. I don't know what it was.
Old RNC has just been failing. Okay, that's a key point there. They have been failing.
Oh,
It'll
yeah.
be interesting if we have a Republican Party in 30 years.
Absolutely.
I would much rather see another party pop up there, which has been a part of history. I mean, Republican Party didn't become a thing until probably around this time in the 19th century. Before that, we had the Whigs, and they died out too because they got idiots in there. President Taft being one of them.
Oh, yes. But no, it's been a trip in the news. Can we just tell you, guys? It's been a trip.
Yeah. Well, what I found interesting was watching the Democratic rally. Comparative, and then watching the ratings come in.
Yeah. Like, oh! Now I remembered my point. Is if you can get past Mem Central on that, then there's the reality of, and it's also been turned into a meme, that the basic concept is re-elect the president to fix the country that he broke. Yeah. That's basically the entire platform message.
Yeah.
Yeah. Loving it. Loving it.
They need a new platform. Heck, honey, someone give them some wood. So they can build a platform that's actually connected to the people.
Yeah, or at least give them a plank.
Yeah, a very nice plank into the middle of a long ocean.
Oh, gosh. But, yeah, no. No, it's been crazy. Like, I just cannot remember a time in which, like, political debate has been this crazy. Like, it's not even a debate. It's not even a debate. It's not even a debate. Like, it's not even an attempt.
We're looking at almost 200 years. Almost 200 years since it has been this crazy. And that was done by lettering. From one letter to another letter in the newspaper. What I found also interesting is they matched their schedules.
Oh, fun.
If Bernie Sanders was talking, so was the former mayor of New York. If the First Lady was talking, the future First Lady was talking. Which, can we say that, someone really needs to shoot her style committee?
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know which was worse, the KGB uniform or the looks close enough KGB uniform, or the green screen dress of, wow, bad choice.
The KBG uniform was a very bad choice. It reminded me of her wearing an army jacket to a hurricane.
Yeah. Well, which that actually got put onto the green screen dress. I don't care. Do you?
Because it was a repeat. Like, as soon as that happened, I would make sure that my wardrobe had nothing military revolved around it.
Yeah, perhaps a bad luck. Yeah, basically. Or anything that, like, come on, this is not the first celebrity to get, like, totally trolled wearing green screen green. Like, chroma green is a bad color choice for everyone. It just opens a Pandora's box of problems. Because the Queen of England had this happen. She wore a very chroma green outfit, because if you know the Queen of England, she, of course, goes for matching glove, hats, and, suit. So, yeah, she had that happen to her a few years back. And it was absolutely horrific. The number of things that were done to that image.
Right.
I can't imagine a single designer in 2020 going, this is a good life choice. This is what I want to do with my career. It almost begs the question: is this like an intentional, like, we're gonna set you up?
Right.
So yeah. Well, sorry, Kim. We do talk about a variety of topics that enter our lives, and a lot of that is also covered under what's going on in the world.
Yeah,
You know,
we cover
great
everything from, life events to live events to hot topics.
But yes, and he also takes questions, so feel
Yeah.
free to drop one in. So anyway,
Anyway, um, it's just insane some of the news coming out. We've got, Mars is going into retrograde. That's going to create some dynamic changes,
uh,
probably more even than Mercury in retrograde, because Mars rules a lot of the masculine energy, so that'll be fun to watch.
mm-hmm.
Um, it's so insane across the globe. Uh, China's now ramping up its nuclear arsenal.
Oh yeah, those are words that make the entire world go, "Oh yeah, that's great."
Hmm. Yeah, I mean that's barely making the news here. It's all over Britain's news. Facebook and Twitter is busy trying to remove Russian-backed accounts targeting the left-leaning voters.
Mm-hmm.
They've took down almost 2,000 today.
Oh wow. I mean, wouldn't it be nice though if we could get rid of all the bots?
It would be lovely to get rid of all the bots, but see, here's the bigger problem:
Okay.
is these little memes that people share from one messenger to another messenger that spread misinformation across the fucking board. Like I've gotten today 5 times about this virus that'll infect your cell phone if you click on it called Dance with Hillary.
Mm.
This isn't 2016.
Yeah.
Hillary's not even been seen a lot in the campaign. As far as I know, she's gone into retirement.
Basically.
Yeah, and there's a bigger problem. Cell phones can't get viruses, especially Android devices.
Well, they can get malware. That's sometimes for users hard to distinguish because both are effectively doing unwanted actions.
Mm-hmm.
Viruses are typically more destructive.
Mm-hmm.
Malware is typically more resource hogging and problematic, annoying, frustrating.
Annoying. But they're not viruses. They can't leak data. They don't lynch data.
Now some malware can, or at least some programs or some apps that you install may be accessing a lot more than you think.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if they are malware driven.
Right.
Less of an iPhone issue, more of an Android issue, but yes.
Yeah. But this Dance with Hillary thing.
Mm-hmm. Ah,
And I want to double check my source here.
okay.
Is a private video that has gone viral in BBC. And it's literally just her dancing in South Africa.
Okay. The things we find to share.
Mm-hmm.
But it is sometimes frustrating, especially when you see things like that get shared around that actually has a social impact
Mm-hmm.
versus the things that get shared that like we try, like as IT professional, I try to get
Mm-hmm.
people to understand that no, quit making your password.
Right.
Quit, like there's so many things. You know, don't necessarily click every link you find on the internet, especially if you're looking for freebies.
Right.
Do be aware of what you're installing. We try to get that information out. We of course bring it up on the show, especially on mountain bears, but it's still one of those things. It's the most common problem that IT professionals run into. It's the most common reason people have problems with their phones and their computers, especially their computers. Um, and it's a lot.
Right.
Like there's some simple stuff you can do to protect yourself. But then also we run into the situation where, people are accepting phone calls as being 100% legitimate,
Right.
and giving out banking information.
Right.
And again, that's stuff we've brought up on the show. That's stuff that, all IT professionals are trying to warn you against is
Mm-hmm.
stop doing that. If nothing else, it'll make your bank happier.
Right. But again, this is a silly hoax message that does not have any connection at all with anything. If anything, it's just annoying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And it's more misinformation because you know what the next thing is that they come back and say is, oh, you need to buy an antivirus program for your cell phone. Norton has one for you.
Yeah, a lot of companies do. And a lot of that ultimately comes down to they do try to scan through apps and at least get an idea what those apps are doing and how they're working and what may be going on behind the scenes of those apps.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in the Android marketplace, some apps aren't necessarily the best things to install. There's a fair number of games that have had issues, especially, and again, that freebie category. People love free. Getting them to understand the cost of free can
Mm-hmm.
be difficult.
Well, no, getting them to understand that, it's crap. You don't need Norton for your cell phone. Save your $187 because, Norton, in my opinion, is crap. Um, and has been for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. I still like Norton with some caveats. Norton is not in and of itself a bad program. Now, it is starting to branch out into areas I'm not really happy about.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've partnered up with LifeLock. They're now doing a lot in terms of what I would almost call going a little too far in locking down systems. But we're starting to see that with more and more antivirus.
Sure.
In terms of the offering keeps getting bigger. Not that all of it's bad, but it can be very frustrating and very problematic depending upon what you do. If
Mm-hmm.
you're just browsing the internet and you are little bunny foo foo hopping down the trail, then Norton's great. But you can also get into situations where if you're needing to connect business software,
Mm-hmm.
sort of like your network software, you can start running into major, walls in terms of that site may be doing things that in terms of antivirus aren't things that make it happy.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Uh,
in general, Norton has been a sucky program for about 10 years now. When they came, yeah, overpriced, overbloated, takes up resources on a computer it doesn't need to.
I don't know. I still disagree. Like, I do think it is a little bit bloated. It's definitely um, sometimes more problematic than problem solving.
Exactly.
Um,
Much more problematic. Much more, and then much more costlier.
it is very expensive.
Windows has
Um,
built a lovely antivirus, anti-spy bot, handles it just fine for the average user.
for the average user, yes,
Doesn't slow
for very
down.
much the average.
Mm-hmm.
But still, there are some users I would recommend it to still. Not every user, but there's a number that really need that extra layer, because what they're doing online is a little too trusting to begin with, and that will actually kind of rein them in a bit and tell them, hey, careful there. Back it up. Back it up. You're getting a little too far down this rabbit trail. And especially for users that I kind of see it more beneficial in senior populations. Just because there are so many scams targeted at seniors. And a lot of what it does actually does fit in with that. In terms of, well, and especially now with like credit monitoring. Do what now?
Another scam.
What, credit monitoring?
Credit monitoring. You can pull your credit 4 times a year. Your cards give you credit reporting all the time. There's no reason to be paying for extra ones. LifeLock is like only useful if the horse got out of the cart.
If what now?
The horse has already left the barn. And then it's only useful for as a resource. They do very little to help you. It's an old scam that used to be attached to secondary credit cards, and then they rebranded themselves.
Well, and some of that can be true. It's not, again, I'm going with this is not always valuable for everybody. But there are certain populations it is. Because it is a one-stop place, and it is a name that they trust. I will give
marketing, not from newspaper articles saying how they've saved anything.
Okay.
LifeLock used to be called Advantage or something to that effect. They used to throw it onto like credit cards that were secured, or throw it onto low-limit credit cards.
Well, again, I was talking about the brand recognition of Norton, not necessarily of LifeLock. But no, it's a source they can trust. It is a legitimate place in terms of vendors. I'm not necessarily thrilled with their LifeLock connection. I really would have rather seen them go with more of a Credit Karma connection, but again, Credit Karma's big thing is free.
Right.
Versus, Norton is all about making money. They really, truly are.
All they're about.
Yeah. Well,
controlling computer access, lowering your bandwidth, using your speed up, so you have to go and buy new computers.
I haven't quite found them that bad all the time. Again, older systems, no, they're not going to handle this software very well for very long. However, if your system's within a few years old, Norton isn't, 2 to 3 years old, Norton is not really going to make that big a difference in terms of the impact on the machine, unless you went to like Walmart and got the bargain basement deal.
Like most users.
Again, this is more geared towards, or my recommendation would be more geared towards seniors, especially those who are a little over trusting and don't necessarily understand what they're doing in the first place.
I disagree. I've been disagreeing about it for a very long time. If they need something a little bit more hand-holding, Avast does a wonderful job.
Avast is a good software, but it does get very naggy. Yeah. That's my only Avast problem, is it gets very, very naggy about trying to upsell you. It does have a great free component, but it does get very naggy towards buy me.
Right. But even with buy me, it's cheaper than Norton.
It is cheaper. There's not necessarily always the same level of protections, though.
Well, yeah, there's not a lot of false flagging that Norton was reported on doing.
Norton can be oversensitive, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In some cases, though, an oversensitive antivirus is kind of in that realm of being a little being a little extra paranoid, being, that kind of person who wants you to wait in the driveway while they walk through the house and check under all the tables and through all the closets and behind all the curtains before they're like, okay, you can leave now. No one's going to rape me, or knock me in the head. Norton does kind of get to that level. It can be a little overprotective.
Well, it can be overprotective. It can be oversensitizing. It can be desensitizing, actually. I mean, if it's popping up every time you do an action, wanting approval for the action, you're going to approve everything.
We faced that same issue with Windows when it started doing the pop-ups for every, do you want to give permission to install?
Mm-hmm.
You want to, that was one of the primary annoyances that users had when that started, was the fact that, this, like, we're trying to draw attention to an important thing, that users weren't realized how exactly, much they were giving permission to their systems to do stuff like install.
Yeah.
And Beverly is definitely in the same boat as you, not cared much for Norton a year after it first came out.
No. It's like AOL in the AOL browser. Hate that program. Glad they stopped installing it on every computer. It was useless and bloating.
It was, but again, there's a demographic of users in which it actually helped. There were users that had a lot of problem understanding what the internet was and how to navigate and where to find what they were looking for. And in many cases, it gave them a very easy to use system for messaging, email, and browsing the web, and got them into that kind of keyword mindset. I would say that no, it wasn't for everyone. AOL was not for everyone. But there were users for whom it's probably the entire reason that they managed to remain online, remain using computers, and learn to understand what the internet was about, and find sites and get connected and, explore. So no, again, it falls in that category of no, it wasn't for everyone. Lots of people didn't need it. It was just like, hi, thanks, mom, I can figure out the internet on my own. For a lot of people, but yet there was still a large number in which they're like, I don't even know what to do with this.
Right, but at the same time, to continue charging a user for service, even though they're no longer dialing into AOL to get service, is an issue.
Yeah.
And then when you go to remove it from their computer, it burns the hard drive and corrupts the Windows.
That I haven't run into.
Oh, yes, I have manually reformatted a lot of damn computers that the only thing the user did was remove AOL.
Oh, wow. Hey, Emily.
Yeah, Avast is a good free program. It does take system resources, but not a lot. They've actually improved that.
Well, yeah. And again, it depends upon what you're doing and how computer savvy you are. There are some users Norton is a better choice. It keeps them out of a lot of things they shouldn't be in. Much like AOL was useful for getting some people into things they didn't understand in a safe way.
Okay.
I know, kind of a weird analogy, but yeah.
Yeah, possibly.
I do like Emily's quote there. She says, my brother would always say, best thing about computers is they do exactly what you tell them to. And it's also the worst thing. It is. That's very true.
No.
It's very true. And we run into that. It can be a lot for some people. It's just one of those things that it will do exactly what you tell it to. It'll take you a lot of places. Helpful if you know where you're going. Or more importantly, if you understand what you're doing and what to look out for. There's still a large number of users that don't know what to look out for.
Right.
That are very trusting, that will click any link, who will follow anything in an email, who will log into anything that kind of sort of looks like the web page they were expecting, without really looking too closely.
Right.
It's sort of like how you absolutely hate the fact that we have SSL certificates on almost all the sites. There's still a couple that we haven't, I think. And that's just because they're not high enough visitor-wise to require it yet. But all because Google got through Chrome got very, very crunchy about the fact that not every website was using security certificates and HTTPS, which is a secure link between the web server and your computer. So instead of just doing the cute little, this page isn't safe icon, they got to the point they started redirecting to a great big giant page of this site is unsafe.
Right. It has nothing to do with safety. Point blank, it doesn't require any safety. My thing is it's another scam for developers and designers to have to pay out for uselessness. Anybody in any site can go and buy an SSI certificate that does jack shit other than change the place for it. It does not do anything else for you as the developer or as the customer.
No, actually it does. That certificate is used to encrypt that connection.
Again, it doesn't do anything for you.
Secures your data.
Baloney. We didn't have to change any pages. They didn't scan the site for anything. All they did was go, oh, let's put an extra P there.
Well, an extra S, but
yeah,
not entirely. It does become the decryption key for the website. That website is now secure, is now served as a jumbled pile of crap. That key is required to disencrypt.
Again, it shouldn't have been a jumbled pile of crap. It wasn't to begin with. There was no changes made to the website other than $23 left our pocket, and then it's going to be $43 and then $53.
Well, again, I've got to respectfully disagree on that one. But yes, hi, Kathy. And you have a question from Brenda.
Yeah.
Let me know when you're ready.
A second, let me get them shuffled. No, there's a lot of things we pay for that isn't needed.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about the necessity to serve a website, then to some degree, I'd agree with that. If you're talking about is it necessary for every site to be encrypted and secured, I can also agree with that. I can also point out, though, that there's are some benefits to kind of slowing the roll of scam sites. That extra charge actually does deter that. At least the proliferation of sites that are mass redirecting to the same site over and over and over again and just reskinning it. Another domain, another thing, and are effectively scam sites.
Well, there's still a scam site. There's just how big of a scam are they going to do out of it? Because if you look on the IG, any of the hawk, just seen on TV products, you click it, it has that ass in it. It's a scam product, but they've spent $23 because that's only 3 of their little 50-cent products.
Alrighty then.
Brenda, understand I'm not a car guy, but I'll give it to you.
Okay, ready to go?
Yeah, we are. I feel like it's going to be reasonable to fix. You actually already have the money. I feel like you got it with someone that knows their stuff. They know what's going on. And I really feel like it has something small. It's like mediocre to fix. That's kind of big. And it does show that Max will be getting his butt back on the road with the chariot behind him.
Well, for those of you who didn't see Brenda's question because we didn't get a chance to read it, Brenda 2263 asked if Max, her Jeep, is going to be fixed at a reasonable cost.
Mm-hmm. Kathy, you will have to go through Facebook to book them. You're on the callback list for my assistant to get to once we get through first of the month and close of the month.
Yep, absolutely. So we will get that all sorted for you. Just hang in there. And hello, Terry.
You're welcome, Brenda. Again, I think it's something small and electrical.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, Kathy is so excited.
But no, it's like credit cards, especially like rebuilding credit cards. They'll snick like a bunch of crap on there. But, why do you need a credit card that has roadside assistance to it and credit monitoring service, travel adventure? All that is a fee thing that they can trap your card into to make it keep using. And we had that problem out of a lot of low-level credit cards.
Well, there were. One of the worst ones we ran into with debt recovery was actually a client we fired. Mm-hmm. And it was because a lot of the credit cards they had opened had never technically been used.
Right.
Ultimately, their terms and conditions required you to make a purchase with the card before they'd send you a statement. The card charged an annual fee, plus a late fee for not paying that annual fee, because you didn't get a statement because you didn't make a purchase. So a lot of the accounts they charged off were, a couple of years old. The only charge ever made to them was the annual fee plus all the fees for late payment, etc. So it became a giant mess. Mm-hmm. And as we're calling, these customers, they're telling us the same story. Like, it's in my wallet. I've never used it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you talking about? So we started pulling statements from the client.
Uh-huh.
And sure enough, there was no statement to speak of, mm-hmm. other than, like the customer was right. They never used it. They weren't, lying to us. Mm-hmm. They literally never used the card. One kind of a cool thing in debt collections is very rare for a debt collector to fire a client. Mm-hmm. Typically we do everything we can. But to actually, one, fire a client, and two, like, to actually take the side of the debtor, mm-hmm. Is very rare. But that one was just so wide open bad.
Mm-hmm.
But the other one we ran into is also gym memberships,
Mm-hmm.
and the insane contracts those have
Right.
that, you can't get out of effectively.
Right.
Like, there's no way on some gym, or there used to be no way to get out of some gym memberships.
Yeah. And
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Sam's Club yearly fee goes on my card, no statement for that. Ooh.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's one have steered clear of, is getting the. I have a we have a Sam's Club membership,
Mm-hmm.
that bills to a separate card. We do not have the Sam's Club credit card, or the Walmart credit card, whichever they're calling it, or if it's both now.
It's
Um,
ours, but same thing. But Walmart just introduced their Walmart Plus to take on Amazon, and it's like, no.
what are they doing with Walmart Plus? Just like it's supposed to be like Prime?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
What does Walmart think they have to offer?
I don't, let's see, low wages, not supporting workers, reducing workers.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Brenda is doing some rebuilding her credit after the X back then. I can understand.
Oh yeah. We know. We deal with that.
Oh yes.
That's why I have the I'm done with credit mentality. Um, and I kind of address that in this month's magazine, but no, done, so done with credit.
Oh, yeah.
Because every time it goes up, the identity theft runs off with it some more, and it goes down, and it's like, why am I working to build something?
Which is a really sad place to be in, especially when it's not literally, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
You're not doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, not doing credit. Buy it outright and be done with it, or deal with certain companies that deal with me,
Mm-hmm.
informing those personal relationships. But no, credit is always being controlled by exos, and it's a freaking mess. And what gets me is, even now today, after we've gone through 2 recessions, everything is being touted about credit reporting, and it is so inaccurate, it is not even funny.
There are lots of problems with credit reporting, and again, something we ran into with collections. You would not believe how easy and how inexpensive it is to credit report.
Mm-hmm.
It really doesn't take much. It's absolutely the easiest thing in the world to credit report an account, especially for an agency. Getting set up is the hardest part, and after that, it's literally just sometime within 6 months, send us an update.
Mm-hmm.
And it can get a little screwy. Especially if you're in charge-off situations. Now, if you are still dealing with your original creditor, that's not as bad. Or if you're in a situation where your debt has been sold, and I'm not talking necessarily about you went into bad debt, like you missed payments and all that stuff, but like for those who have accounts that have been sold down the river, such as mortgages, especially. Sometimes, and of course, again, for bad debt, as it gets passed around, you now have multiple companies trying to credit report this.
Mm-hmm.
And not always does the credit reporting for one company stop before another company starts. There's not always that gap in between. Sometimes it overlaps, and sometimes it can overlap multiple times. And again, the minimums needed to credit report an account, it's very easy to get wrong information to show up on someone's credit report. It can literally be as simple as getting a social security number wrong.
Right.
Because ultimately what happens with credit reporting agencies, such as Equifax and Experian, and TransUnion, is the way they take in that data is kind of as a near neighbor. As long as you're sort of right, they'll slam it in there. Like they really will. It's just kind of like that junk drawer in the kitchen. You just slam stuff in there. Just shove it in. Just keep shoving it in. Shove it in some more. Because they're trying to make sure to have the most information. Not necessarily as much ability to ensure the validity of the information. So, and ultimately becomes the consumer responsibility to check their credit report and correct their any issues as best they can. But even that can be a real pain in the rear end. Again, what's required for verification is pretty limited. So Emily says, when my family purchased this house, it was in the middle of the big financial crisis, and my dad saw the name of the loan company on his mortgage bill change almost 6 times in a 7-year period.
And that looks like he's moved mortgages 7 times. Well, 6
Which
times.
Sometimes can be helpful to credit.
Not
if
that
you're
often.
making all your payments on time and that balance is going down, every once in a while, those kinds of situations can inadvertently help your credit score. Like if you have a good payment history and that account gets listed multiple times, sometimes that can actually be better than the opposite happening, which is you miss a payment or you have a charge-off account and it gets listed multiple times, because each listing of that is going to pull you further and further down.
So we've got 2 questions here.
Okay.
And one, you need a birth date.
Yeah, Terry, we need a birth date. And I'm sorry, I missed the other question.
Kathy.
There we go. So Kathy, 92788, asks, Ashley had her tubes tied but thinks she is pregnant even though she has done the test and it's negative.
Okay. She ain't pregnant. She, however, does need to go see her doctor, because this is hormonal and the body is producing hormones that introduce family. That can be very major, so please have her go see her doctor, preferably her female doctor.
All right. Well, we haven't seen Terry's birthday pop in yet. I know, Terry, we should have it memorized by now, I swear.
Yeah, be given every time.
Do I know?
Has to be given every time.
I know. I was just joking.
I know.
There we go. So Terry 31357 asks, Mark has pictures of Vicky in the living room and bedroom when I come over. He takes them down. Will he take them down? I know he does it for Preston.
Right. He does it for Preston. I think you need to tell him just leave them up. I mean, because, it's not for him. It's not because he likes her. It's for the child. It's kind of like he's taking and, dressing the house up because family's coming over. And I really think that you need to have the strength there to go, you know what? We stop that.
Okay.
Looking at the cards, he'll stop it eventually, but it'd be easier if you just call him on and say, look, just knock that off. I'm not company. You don't have to go and reorganize your house because I'm coming.
Okay. Well, and that's a strong point to be made, especially in situations where families have exes and you're trying to get with someone else. And, there are some people that are really uncomfortable with that. But it's also one of those things that sometimes you just have to suck it up. And realize, especially when there's a minor child, or, frankly, a child, this person had a family and a life before you, and that situation changed, but the child didn't.
Right.
Can't reassign parents. It kind of sucks.
Right. And that doesn't mean that, you're any lesser in his mind or any lesser in his heart. It's just something on the wall.
So, yeah, Emily's dad went through exactly what I was talking about. Her dad's credit was better than most millionaire businessmen. Banks almost didn't give him a loan because his credit was suspiciously too good for his salary.
Mm-hmm.
Basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works out, but yeah, it can blow up in your face. It happens. It freakishly happens. So yes, so to Mrs. Frank, Francis in the comments, go ahead. We need your date of birth and pop your question in.
Yep. And hi, Mary. Nice to see you.
What? We have a Mary.
Mrs. Frank is actually Mary from Platinum Precision.
Yeah.
Yeah, my old IT boss.
Aww. Very cool, very cool.
And she can attest how crappy Norton is.
I don't know. I'm reticent to really trash a lot of apps. Like sometimes it's just useful to some people and not for others. Now there are apps I will trash though. All right, and I'm waiting for the rest of Mary's question to pop in. Okay. So, well, I'll go ahead and get started. So Mary says her date of birth is 11/28/57, and this is about John, age 35. He met a girl during this transit, Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, over his Venus in Capricorn.
Mm-hmm.
Still waiting. She's on her laptop.
Yep.
Did John meet the right young lady for a wife?
Well, that's a nice transit there, and it's normally a fun one. Jupiter contracting Pluto, hitting Saturn. Yeah, but they're going to have issues through this Mars-Venus attack, and that's just them airing out their egos in general. I do feel like it comes into justice and more balance, so that it will be a lot more happier. The Eight of Wands is showing them iron out their issues. Now, Mother Dearest, don't be your attacking lioness. Just sit back, let it roll itself out and relax, and remind them to take it slow.
Ooh, Jupiter conjunct Venus in natal chart.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is a big one. So expansion in love and also expansion in money.
Ah. Sounds like the right time to meet someone.
It is, but it's one of those. It's fiery, it's passionate, but you got to remember, they got to sort out stuff like who's going to pick up the socks and make the bed, and who's going to go out and earn the money, and who's going to actually cook dinner.
There you go.
Because John has a bad habit of being Mr. Perfect.
Well, she told him courtship.
Mm-hmm. And prenup is a lovely word. Prenup is a lovely, lovely word.
Oh.
Yeah, I knew his birthday, honey.
We just got to make the lawyers happy on who asked.
Yeah. Good. About time you start doing your astrology again.
Oh, good deal. Good deal. Okay, and Kathy comes back in with Ashley's appointment is not tomorrow, but next Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay.
No marriage license in Mercury retrograde. No contract negotiations in Mercury retrograde. No buying cars or houses in Mercury in retrograde. No allowing men to act like idiots in Mars in retrograde.
Aw, Mary misses you.
I miss you too, hon.
Aw.
We finally got the tech company up and running.
Yes, we did.
And
Mary wants to be a lawyer.
An astrologer is much more funner, Mary. And you're still a lawyer. You're just drafting better documents.
Well, you'll definitely handle enough, terse relationships to feel like a divorce attorney.
I think she's going for corporate law, corporate technical law, if I remember correctly.
Hey, but the fun is in divorce.
Prenups handle divorce easily.
Oh, so apparently related by JLB Sire? I'm trying. Oh, lawyer by day, astrologer by night.
That'll work.
Like it. It sounds like a Netflix series. I'm there. I want to watch.
It needs to be a network series.
Do what now?
But it needs to be a network series. It would be awesome to be a series on psychic abilities, on everything else.
Okay, I'm going to let you figure out parts of it.
You're going to have to take that to PM, honey, because I have not a clue what you're talking about there, unless you think you're related to Joe there.
Yeah. Which is possible.
Yeah.
It's wildly possible. Aww. Aww. Got the marriage license in Connecticut on Rosemary's birthday, 2015.
Oh, you'll remember Seattle. That was a cool trip. That's probably one of my funner experiences as a psychic and Mary that may get included in my memoirs. It's been a while since I interviewed divorce attorneys.
She says, I lost the battle but won the war.
And the end results is all that matters.
Mm-hmm. That it is. That it is. So yeah, I feel a little out of the loop, but something tells me this is too juicy for our show.
No. It's client confidentiality. I can't go into the specifics of it, but yeah, the trip to Seattle was awesome. Got to spend some time with Mary out there and have some business fun. We got to work on a few business projects together, so it was really cool.
Oh, nice. Alrighty.
And eat at the Pancake House out there below the Seattle Needle. If it's still there, my God, it's delicious food. Yeah.
Nice.
But
all good things.
Very good things.
But yes.
Yeah. A lot of stuff is happening in tech. A lot of stuff is happening in entertainment. Which one do you want to take on?
Oh, let's go for tech first.
All right, Galaxy Z Fold 2. What do you think of these cell phones that fold up?
Oh God, can we just stop already? Like, it's a cool concept. Don't get me wrong. It's cooler than shit. It's cool. I'm there with people who are like, that would be so cool. it's really not the best idea. Like every time we see the proof of concept, it looks cool. We've gotten to the point that they actually work for a little while, and then they break.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a bridge too far right now.
Right.
Like, I don't think it's a place to pull R&D out of. I'm just going, not, it's like, it's not that I can't see a use for screens that bend,
Mm-hmm.
especially beyond the 90-degree angle.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. And they would have tons of practical uses for a lot of things. But trying to do this with a cell phone into that, full like 180 bend is, I think, a bridge too far right now. I think we're just pushing the tech too far for that use case.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I don't know how else you get people truly interested in bendable displays without that kind of awesomeness.
Well, I think with that flip, no, you're not private, Mary. Um, this is publicly broadcasted on 14 different networks.
Yeah, you're
But
as unprivate as possible.
yeah. But no, the flip screens or whatever. I'm looking at it going, if you want that, go get a tablet and attach a keyboard, or go get a laptop and use it. I think that we've gone way too far with these smartphones. They're going now back bigger. It used to be I didn't want a smartphone because I got fat thumbs. Now I don't want a phone that I have to carry a bag with.
Well, more importantly, you're now starting to run into the situation in which your thumbs aren't long enough.
Yeah.
I'm out of thumb.
Right.
I have no more thumb to do this with.
Yep.
Oh. And Brenda, that is exactly what we're running into with the foldable display concept. Right now, it's gotten a lot better. There are companies that have gotten as far as major production. Motorola did a full screen StarTAC, I believe, and Samsung tried.
Well, Galaxy Z Fold.
Yeah, it's pretty, it's expensive, and it still breaks.
Right. And then, of course, we have Apple jumping at the bit for 5G, which I don't have a problem with 5G. But, they've unveiled 4 new cell phones, a new AirPod Air, and Apple Watch, all to support 5G.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's my problem with 5G right now. Right now, if you're investing in a phone or you're getting ready to make the phone purchase, hold off on 5G for a little bit. Don't spend the extra money yet. Major carriers are still struggling to get a full 5G implementation on the ground in large areas. So most likely that's probably going to be at least another year, possibly 2, before you're going to actualize real 5G experience. So right now it's a lot of extra cost on that phone. Because a lot of the 5G phone models are a good chunk more money-wise than their 4G capable counterparts. So stick with the 4G if you're looking for places to save money on a phone. Definitely not worth it right now. You're at best in large metropolitan areas, you might notice a difference for most carriers. Currently, I think Verizon, off the top of my head, is the only one to do a full 5G implementation. And even that's only in a few areas. And while the network's capable of a lot faster data speeds, apparently their back end isn't.
Right.
You're still not going to see as much of the improvement. Yeah. Definitely there with Mary. Wait it out. Wait it out.
Right. And I think that that's a big point right now. So be waiting out and looking at what is available, technology-wise. And when you're on a bleeding edge of technology, like most phone carriers like to push their new contracts, you
Mm-hmm.
get plus phones that don't work.
Right. Well, and also you're gonna potentially end up with experimental phones,
Right.
as in, like if you're looking at like the Samsung, for instance, what I actually have, the Samsung S10 Note Plus or
Mm-hmm.
the S10 Note Pro, depending upon who you talk to.
Mm-hmm.
There is a 5G model, and I debated it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I got a little into, okay, so where are we?
Right.
Like, where are we actually at? Is it worth it right now
Right.
to spend that extra money? And that's where I kind of came back on it, which was, we're not really there yet. Be nice to have for tech purposes, just to experiment with. But again, that means our nearest 5G tower for our service provider, I would have to drive to Beckley to test that out.
Right.
And literally, I'm only going to get 5G in Beckley. And for our carrier, which is an MVNO,
Right.
that carrier is running off of AT&T.
Right.
AT&T is only doing a very light version of 5G. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a full 5G rollout. It's just a incremental improvement.
Right.
So yeah, right now it's like, I'm not spending the money on that. Like, I figure in about another year and a half or so, when I'm ready for a new phone, I'll definitely be looking to see where we're at with 5G. If you want to liken it to anything, this is like the 4G rollout.
Right.
Yeah. And
It'll,
this has nothing to do with coronavirus and towers causing 5G, blah, blah, blah. Forget that crap. That's not a thing.
yeah. That's right.
Yeah. It's totally separate concepts. But the 4G rollout, when it happened, was also a slow version of this.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a while to get true 4G. A lot of places said you were getting 4G signal. A lot of service providers said this is a 4G connection, to keep selling those 4G phones.
Mm-hmm.
But it still took a couple of years before you're actually seeing it and feeling it in terms of data connection quality,
Mm-hmm.
and getting that speed that you should have been getting.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it was just rebranded 3G.
Right.
And that's basically what you're going to get with 5G right now. And a lot of carriers and a lot of places, is rebranded 4G with a of extra.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough to really justify paying extra for it. Yes, hooray for LTE. Oh my God. Is anyone else there? Like, I'm at the point in my life that 4G has become so normal. When I hit a 3G area, I don't know how to function anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like, I think my phone died. Like, my phone doesn't even know how to function without
Well,
data.
a lot of phones can't even function on lower speeds anymore. It'd be like trying to attach Windows 10 to dial up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bad life choice. Yeah.
Now,
But
I find interesting is Hurricane uh, Katrina was not a natural disaster. Like no federal government assigned her a natural disaster as a natural disaster. That she walked complete cities off the map.
oh,
Mm-hmm.
what the heck?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Weird. Huh.
Very weird.
Insane. Sorry, we're alerting the invisible assistant. I need coffee. So, but yes, we are in the mountains. We are
Mm-hmm.
in the mountains, and we're looking up on being in the mountains. I mean, we're getting the best version of in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
We have a 1 gig connection to this house. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
can we just talk about how amazing that is? that we actually live in a service area in the state of West Virginia that offers 1 gig service. That's home internet. Sorry, just to be clear, because I know we've been talking about cell. But yeah, and we still have the prettiness of the mountains. We still have the beautiful snow days. We still have a lot of stuff. We are just so perfectly situated in terms of like power outages aren't typically that horrible. We lose maybe a day or two. But generally it doesn't horribly impact our lives. We're not doing the 5 mile driveway and, power without power for weeks or months. Like we're not there. Oh yeah. I just want to point that out because that's not the typical West Virginia experience anymore. Well, it's just not the typical West Virginia experience, period. We have a lot of areas that are screwed.
Right. And I'm at that point that, if this area becomes screwed, we're moving. I'm not going to fight to build infrastructure. We will just put the house up for sale and move. And we've gotten to that point on a lot of things. Like I've got a realtor on speed dial, basically waiting for some more crap to go on around here, and I'm gone. And then I'm heading to the desert because then we will get real service. I mean, looking at like Denver, Colorado, they got maybe 3 and 5 gig service already.
Absolutely.
London has 4 gigs.
Yeah. But right now, that's, I mean, a 3 to 5 gig service or, massively powerful service is great for business. For us as home consumers and a couple of small businesses, we're doing really good with the 1 gig. Now, that's contrasted with a lot of the state in which we have areas that only have dial-up, if they have dial-up. Like if the line quality is good enough for dial-up is actually a West Virginia question. Like that's scary. That cannot get anything else. Like that's it. That's all we got. Oh yeah, FiOS. Oh my God. Like we dream in FiOS. Yes.
There's a lot of places that there's a property that I've had my eye on for about 4 years now that I'd love to move to. It has everything I want on it except internet. It has a nice house. I can't see my neighbors. They can't see me. I can go. It has a nice storage area for food. I can literally put in 3 freezers and not have to leave for a month if I choose not to. But there is no cell service. There is no cell service, and there is no internet of any sort there. That's my problem.
Yeah. Yeah, we have whole counties suffering like that with with at best dial-up internet, spotty cell phone service, maybe, and that's it. That's it. There is
support what I need.
Well, there is satellite internet. That also comes with some caveats because, again, satellite internet is typically, as I understand it, unless things are changing, is typically codependent on dial-up for your request. Your download is actually coming from satellite. Your upload, your request, is coming from dial-up.
Right.
At a minimum. Oh, she's trying to talk you into Litchfield County in Connecticut.
Well, that might be an option, except it's Connecticut. My car insurance will go up in Connecticut. My cigarette prices go really up in Connecticut.
And where would no one notice a town full of robots? Connecticut.
Yeah, the Stepford wife.
Oh, I thought of it earlier when I saw Connecticut, and I was just like, nope, not going to say it. Going to be good. Not going to say it. Not going to. Dang it. She brought it up again. I got to go there.
Yeah. But no, I personally am looking. If we are moving to somewhere. It's hot because I'm tired of snow. I
Yes.
want to take pictures of a desert or an ocean, one of the two.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but no, we've looked at satellite because I've wanted something that can be travelable. And satellite, unfortunately, isn't there yet. However, SpaceX did launch their next round of satellites that they could be using it at.
Ooh. Ooh, more satellites.
Yes, because SpaceX plans on launching a satellite service that will be satellite internet, and it is supposed to challenge all the speeds currently offered on all internet services.
Now, will they be using that as a backbone provider, or will they be using that as literal satellite to your home?
Satellite to your home, RV, or car.
Wow.
Uh huh. I've been following that on
Now,
Technologist.
the biggest issue, and again, I haven't looked into satellite in a few years just because I got excited about it and then saw the requirements and ran away.
Mm-hmm.
So, and maybe Mary is well situated to explain. As to, I thought that the biggest problem with satellite internet as a bidirectional is the uplink equipment, as in trying to broadcast signal up. Because one, that requires a nice FCC license, as I remember, and two, that's typically some pretty expensive and high-powered equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is SpaceX going the same route as other satellite providers, or has there been an advancement I missed?
Well, what it looks like, the module is about the size of my glass case.
Okay.
It will send and receive satellite, but the bigger problem with satellite is having the coverage.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a global network of satellites, or you do end up getting stuck into the terrain. What they're doing is building the coverage out, uplink, and then the transmitter itself will just transmit the same way as home internet, as home satellite services do.
Okay, but that's where I'm confused. I thought we were still at like either you're using cellular or you're using your home broadband for that. Like to run the request off of your satellite receiver for data to tell them about your purchases, etc.
Mm-hmm.
I still thought that was all done over either home broadband
Mm-hmm.
or over dial-up service.
No, this is going to be a standalone.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
the satellite internet's gotten better than I thought. I've got to look into that now.
Yep.
Because I got out of it when it was still like you had to either do dial-up or cellular. There was some RV services that were cellular based.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, I was sitting here like, that's not really what you advertised. But would technically work okay
Uh-huh.
for most home users.
Right.
The biggest problem becoming if you're in a situation professionally or personally even where
Mm-hmm.
you want to send out
Mm-hmm.
large quantity data.
Mm-hmm.
Like you need to upload videos to YouTube because you have a YouTube channel, or you need to send documents, etc. That some of those larger file sizes were going to be a real problem because you're still upload limited to dial-up.
Right, but that was majorly connected to them being piggybacked on other satellites.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't send and receive because the satellite they were basically piggybacking on was the other satellites that broadcast radio and TV and everything else. So you had a small bandwidth.
Oh, true.
Okay, the whole SpaceX program is looking to build a satellite network that will span the globe, and it'll be just for their internet service, so it gives you a full spectrum of bandwidth.
Nice.
Yeah, but you're still going to run into problems with weather, because with satellite, snow, and anything else that blocks your receiver, it's going to be an issue.
Always is.
Yep.
Always is.
Yeah.
But now that's not necessarily so bad with the smaller dishes.
No.
Like now I grew up in a satellite household back in the 80s. The original satellite that my father put in was a 10-foot black mesh dish. And the controls were in a cigar box for coarse, large scale movement and fine tuning adjustment. So it was crazy. There was a long time until we got the combo unit, receiver, and controller. So yeah, it was a whole different world. Like I started school knowing things like G414 as a channel, and I'm dealing with people talking about, channel 19, and I'm like, but on what satellite?
Mm-hmm.
Or, talking about channel 48, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. The satellite only goes up to 24 channels per satellite.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all you got. It's 24. It resets to 1.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, but Mary's saying huge network payload. Yes, it is a huge network payload. The data compression will happen. It happens in anything we see. What we need to watch for is data packet lossage, and that will probably be an issue when you have terrible weather.
Can be.
Yeah.
Absolutely can be. But typically the weather has to be pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like as in most corrections should handle your typical like thunderstorm, that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Most of your problems come in with snow, just the density of snow on that dish, as well as the issues you can run into with storm damage and storm wind.
Mm-hmm.
Those are usually your biggest, like, ugh, on satellite, especially the old school 10-foot dish. Let me tell you, going out there in the middle of winter with a broom to sweep the giant 10-foot satellite dish, not fun. Not fun, especially when it's literally so loaded with snow that you finally get enough weight off of it and it starts to respond to a previous command because the motor has been stuck.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, or it was crazy. I got smacked in the head so many times.
Well, I'm glad to see that they're back up relaunching because they had to pause launching because of the coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm liking SpaceX, like really liking a lot of the technology they're coming out with.
I am. I'm still not a big fan of Elon Musk.
I don't need to be a fan. I just need to get the benefit of his money.
Well, but unfortunately, you got to realize that all of these projects that he's putting money into are built around him as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as in, it's his ethics going into all these programs, and that's where I'm a little concerned. Like, that's where, like, a lot of it is he is very pioneering, and I understand there's a bit of brash and bravado that will go with that.
Mm-hmm.
But also some of the things that he has said and done have been really out there. Like, in terms of you start to wonder, like, what's wrong with you, dude?
Well, I think a lot of what's wrong with you, dude, is he doesn't pay attention to people in general. He pays attention to what is needed, i.e., electrical cars. Gee, here's money. We needed to affect the greenhouse. Boom, here you go. Oh, you want to go to Mars, but the government won't fund the project to do it? Well, let's figure out how to do it.
Oh, she's giving you a challenge. Go do his natal chart. Hey, MG.
Oh, I'm going to tell you, it's probably very heavy fire, very heavy conjunctions.
Yeah.
Hi, MG. Nice to see you.
But backing up to what you said, no, he is very not about people.
Wow.
Like, he doesn't care about people. He's not interested in people. Like, he is the human equivalent of the I don't care, do you jacket. Like, as far as human beings are concerned. Like, that's been my biggest problem with him.
I don't know. Let's see. He's trying to contract global warming by producing an electric car, but getting met and argued with by every governmental official around. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'd get tired of that very quickly. Goes to try to fix a program that the U.S. screwed up from the 60s, is able to do it, and then he gets more bad press.
Again, it's not with. There are very positive things he's doing, and I'm not throwing off on those.
Mm-hmm.
But every time he, as a person, gets involved in a situation that is not professional,
Mm-hmm.
i.e., it has nothing to do with electric cars, has nothing to do with space travel, it has nothing to do with the next great thing.
Mm-hmm.
Every time he interacts with society, typically society is left going, what the hell?
Oh, yeah, but we get that out of geniuses. We get that out of people that had to interact with J.P. Morgan. When he's like, no, we're going to do it while we need to. Andrew Carnegie, same reaction.
Oh, Brenda says he's an android, Joe. It's all good. Oh, fine. But he's not the droid I'm looking for. I got to quit making references to movies I haven't watched.
Yes, you have. But again, in general, I don't have any problems with Elon Musk making money because he's actually taking us farther down the road than we need to go. But he's getting flack from every corner of the globe going, oh, but you can't do that. Gee, he designed a car that runs on electricity that technically could be produced by hydropower. Okay. The two states that are majorly constricted and controlled by gas, fuel production and oil production is California. Gee, yeah, he's going to get a lot of flack, and they're going to do everything to slow him down.
Mary, right you are. Yes, Yoda with a bachelor's in electrical engineering. Exactly. It would be wonderful.
Yeah. But no, that happens a lot with geniuses. They get a lot of bad rap.
Well, it can happen. It's just one of those, like, stay in your lane, dude. Like, go conquer the universe. Go, create wonderful things, but stop trying to get involved in rescue operations. When you're going to turn around and, like, start calling people pedophiles and shit.
Well, let's see. Why was he involved in rescue operation? Oh, yeah, the failure of the federal government. It's like the mayor of New York City having to act as president to Georgia because ours can't do it. He's too busy trying to run a campaign.
But ultimately, he didn't actually get involved, if I remember right. He shot his mouth off.
No, they refused his help.
They refused his help. He still, tried to force his way in.
Thomas J. Walton of IBM delegated.
Oh, Watson is delegating now. Oh, God. No, not Watson.
Watson would be good. See, and I think people should use Watson more than what they have.
Well, Watson technology is showing up all over the place.
It is.
It very much is. But yeah, no. I don't know. I think Elon Musk can best be described as, IBM made his hardware and AOL is supplying the connection.
Now, again, I think that he has the same problems that we see. And if you look at history, Andrew Carnegie got the same flack. J.P. Morgan got the same flack. Anybody that is willing to go, oh, your words on paper is why you don't want me to do this? Huh?
Well, again, there's limits there. It is not that I'm challenging his genius. I'm not. It's that when he gets involved in situations, he really needs a PR consultant quickly.
Either that or people to get the hell out of his way. Let him do what he needs to do.
A delegation is success to leadership being true.
Mm-hmm.
But yes. Um, a friend of Mary's worked for them in Poughkeepsie. Oh,
Mary, Well, you know that we can't be revealing stuff that happens in Poughkeepsie.
oh dear. Oh, but yeah. Again, you're still public.
This
Very
is not a secure channel.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Oh,
and that's something we'll talk about later on: is genius versus reality.
oh yeah.
One of the show topics, or me and you conversations that I decided to film, will be about genius versus reality. You know,
Okay.
we have stifled because of finances. I mean, and because of the reason U.S. pays 6 times the amount it does in medical drugs than any other country.
Mm-hmm.
Or why we're still being held to a car that was formed almost 110 years ago, basic model.
Essentially, although cars have generally improved.
No,
Just well, it's still a lot more comfortable than you would be in 1910.
True, but all right, guys, we're at the hour and a half mark.
We are.
Yeah, so we have to call this one to an end, but that's okay. We'll be back Friday, and we'll be talking about a lot more hot topics, and that includes politics because we're in an election year, and that includes everything else that goes on in the world, including Germany now tearing China. Oh no, we're going to treat Hong Kong just like we treat you.
Oh dear.
So then, good night, y'all.
Good night.